FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
This episode of the Financial Survival Network is brought to you in part by Sandstorm Gold Royalties. Sandstorm Gold Royalties is a different kind of gold company. They purchase royalties on select mining operations and receive a percentage of the revenue in return. Sandstorm now has a portfolio of over 185 gold royalties around the world. See how gold royalties differ from other gold mining investments at sandstormgold.com. That's sandstormgold.com. Sandstorm Gold Royalties trades on the TSX as SSL and on the New York Stock Exchange American as SAND.
Welcome, and you are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. It's 12/27/18, and this may very well be our last broadcast of the year, so I'd be remiss in not wishing you and yours a happy and a healthy new year. You better buckle your seatbelt. Things are going to get crazy. They're crazy already. They're going to be even crazier. Hey, as always, be a part of the show. Join the craziness. Email me at kl@kerrylutz.com. Well, Gerald Celente is here with us now, trendsjournal.com, to talk about where we are and where we're going. Gerald, welcome back.
Well, thanks for having me, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Well,
coming up.
At least look at the bright side. In theory, at least, we're going to have 2 less wars in the coming year, right?
Well, not if the mainstream media could do anything about it. And the Democrats, if a Democrat was in office and they said that they were pulling out of Syria and winding down the Afghan war, oh boy, all those liberals would be cheering. But that's not the story. Here's from the toilet paper record last week, the New York Times. U.S. exit is seen as an abandonment of the Kurds and a boon for ISIS. Ban what, Kurds away? I mean, what do you mean abandonment of the Kurds? Since when did we the people, have to support the Kurds? I mean, what a bunch of garbage this is. This is an illegal war. Could anybody make that clear? Could you spell illegal? Because, Kerry, if you or I break the law, boy, they prosecute us to the fullest extent of the law.
Of course.
But when lying, arrogant phonies like Barack, the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner, and John Little Kerry, although he's tall, he's not a man, and Hillary Clinton and all the rest of those Democrats, Assad has to go. Mm-hmm. Assad has to go. Oh, yeah, you got every right to tell a nation that has nothing to do with you, no threat to you, that their leaders should go. So what are you going to do? You're going to start a war that kills over 600,000 people, displaces over 10 million, destroys one city after another, and then when you pull out, it's a disgrace. U.S. pullout could boost ISIS in Syria. Quick exit would add to struggles of Kurdish-led force. Fighting militant group. No. It was to overthrow Assad. This is all BS. And so going back to when you and I and anybody listening, if we break the law, we're prosecuted to the full extent. Remember, we're going too fast. You didn't have your signal light on. How many drinks did you have? Get out of the car, stand on your head, repeat the alphabet backwards, and then we'll take you to jail, handcuff you, and go up to your private parts because we could do that thanks to Obama. But when the criminals start wars, the Bushes, the Clintons, the Obamas, illegally, nobody prosecutes them. Nobody.
Funny how that works.
Instead, what they do, like from the Cartoon News Network over there, Trump's bizarre decision on Syria. This is by Peter Bergen. Peter BS, you little boy of a clown. This is how he says it. The first, why replicate the total withdrawal of U.S. troops in Iraq? first set in motion by George W. Bush before the Obama administration made the official announcement at the end of 2001, which helped set the stage for the return of ISIS. The second, why hand over Syria to the Russians and the Iranians? Hand over Syria, you little jerk. Hand it over to the Russians and the Iranians. The Russians and the Iranians were invited in by the sovereign government there, Junior. We are a foreign nation in a foreign country there illegally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And there's no UN, no nothing. Nobody invited us in there. Nobody wanted us there. And yet that's where we wound up.
And all the media, all the mainstream media, all came out against this decision.
They were all against it, rightfully so. And now what? Now they think it was the greatest war we ever fought.
I know. And then this firing of Mad Dog Mattis. Oh, yeah, wonderful guy. You know, his quotes are terrific, about how, anytime you meet someone, always be ready to kill them.
Yeah.
Wonderful things. He destroyed Fallujah when he was running Iraq war.
Mm-hmm.
And you have all these Democrats coming out saying what a wonderful guy he is. Mm-hmm. Mad Dog Mattis, for leading the U.S. bloody campaign again in Fallujah that destroyed the place. And his command when he was in Afghanistan, I quote, "It's a hell of a lot of fun to shoot Afghans." Yeah, it is the kind of guy you want there. An adult. Right. How about a guy that's, a little demented?
A little bit, huh? You think?
Yeah. This is from the Washington Post.
Yeah.
With Mattis leaving, be afraid.
Well, at least we're getting out, so it would appear, right?
I think it's great.
Yeah.
We have no business being there. Look, here's the story. Anybody in business, you hire somebody, they have to show success rate.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. military has not won a war since World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And I stand by Trump 100% when he says, we've been losing, we haven't been gaining anything. Let's bring the troops home. And it's one of my foundation points of my Occupy Peace movement. It's bring home the troops, secure the homeland,
exactly,
and put them to work rebuilding our rotted infrastructure rather than destroying other countries and then having us pay to rebuild them.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to make a whole heck of a lot of sense, Gerald, that this has been our enunciated policy since World War II. You could make the argument that we did okay in the first Gulf War, but really we were just wound up back there again. So, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, whether we should have been there defending the Kuwaiti oligarchs or not.
Our great friends, the Kuwaits. Yeah, can't wait to defend the Kuwait. Yeah, I mean, people don't even know where the place is on the map. You think if it was about oil, anybody would, if Iraq was invading to steal their broccoli crop?
Yeah.
You think we would have been there?
Yeah, that's true. Can't argue with you there. That's for certain. So what about the economy here? It looks like it's losing steam, can't withstand the rapidity of these interest rate increases. What's going on with this?
Well, I've been saying that on your show for now a year.
I know.
That rising interest rates are going to bring down the markets. It has nothing to do with this BS about tariffs and trade wars. There is no trade war. Mm-hmm. All of Trump's tariffs on China mm-hmm. equal the grand total of taking away 0.7% from their GDP.
Yeah.
It's about higher interest rates. The whole recovery was built on cheap money.
Correct.
Yeah, monetary meth. That's what I call it, man. All they did is shoot up the bull. People say, Celente, you said the markets were going to collapse again in 2012. You're 100% right. I said that. I didn't know about negative and zero interest rate policy and massive amounts of quantitative easing, schemes that they made up that they never taught me in Economics 101 or graduate school. to juice the economy. It's a fake economy, and it can only be sustained by more monetary methods. So our forecast, Gary, in 2019, no more Fed rate hikes, and possibly even
cuts.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like inevitable. They kind of had to do this last hike, I think, Gerald, because Trump was telling them not to. So they had to prove that they were independent, right? And they don't succumb to political pressure, which is a joke. But really, of course they do. They're a political institution. So, but now they've got another quarter that they can cut back when they need to start cutting, right?
Exactly.
That's what they got.
And they can't do that in Europe because they still have negative interest rates.
Correct.
And they're not going to raise them maybe until the summer 2019. And they can't do that in Japan because they have negative interest rates and negative bond yields.
Right.
So they can't lower it. By the way, the Bank of Japan has $4 trillion worth of debt that they accumulated with its phony buying up stocks and bonds.
Yes, true.
And so they have nowhere to go down. And now you're looking at China. China's now talking about lowering their reserve currencies and pumping more money into the system, lowering taxes. So China's in trouble.
Well, I always think, Gerald, imagine if there was no quick, easy debt. How much do you think a car would cost? How much would a house cost you? How much would a college education cost you? The only way they can get these prices for these items is because of the ability to create money out of thin air. And if that's a good thing, then maybe I'm missing something.
Well, you mentioned the Federal Reserve. To me, it's a criminal operation. We have no business having one. It's a private bank. They use the word Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
What a joke. This is against the Constitution. And, only Congress has the right. And they've taken it away. And they could thank
money. Yeah.
May he rot in hell, Woodrow Wilson, a deranged SOB who got us into World War I and brought us the Federal Reserve. You look at the numbers. What the value of the dollar since we've gotten into the Fed has declined, some 97%?
Yeah. Yeah, and not to mention the income tax he brought us.
Yep.
He brought us regulation. I think it wasn't him, but
income tax. Yeah,
income tax and the whole regulatory state and the government running the economy because they thought they could do it better during World War I. They took over the railroads. They took over wide swaths of the economy. And it wasn't until many years later that they gave some of them back. But the die was cast for FDR because without Woodrow Wilson, FDR probably could have never gotten away with the things that he did.
Yeah, no, it's one crazy president after another. I mean, to me, it's a global freak show.
Yeah.
Look at May. Look at Macron. Look at Merkel. It's one freak show after another. And a bunch of side freaks, the clowns that they call politicians around them. It's the greatest freak show on earth. We're going into 2019, and I've been in this business 38 years. And I've never seen more concern about the future than what's happening now. And we look at that very closely in our top 10 trends for shaping 2019. And very interesting, too, by the way. We do these every year, and mid-year we do an update report of our hits and misses. And you go to the rest of the media as we're speaking. What are they all talking about? What happened in 2018? Who cares what happened? It's gone. How about looking ahead? Oh, no, we can't look ahead. We're too stupid. We don't have the skills, the knowledge, or the intelligence. So we're just going to look back and feed you a lot of stupid, needless garbage.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. You have all these retrospective shows I'm much more concerned about what's going to happen next year, because whatever happened, like you said, already happened. There's nothing you can do about it other than learn the lessons, what lessons there are, and then you kind of have to move ahead. But the media moves ahead by looking in the rearview mirror, and the government too.
Well, yet they're always looking in the rear. That's what they do. They bow down and suck up. They're the prostitutes.
Yeah, that's
so the rear is all they are used to.
Prostitution.
They're political. They're whores. They get paid to put out by their corporate Johns and their Washington whoremasters. There's no free press in America. That's one of our top trends for 2019. Censorship. 2019. It's just going to increase and take more rights away from us, and have the big ones tell us what to do, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it, and why we should do it.
Well, they're good at that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Always for thee, not for me, right?
You got it.
So what about precious metals? Looks like this thing's starting to come alive, but we've had this fake out so many times, Gerald, that how can you, you got to be a little skeptical.
Well, it may sound like a broken record on this, but I said for the better part of the year that the bottom of gold was $1,200.
Right.
Because that's what it costs to pull out of the ground. And when whether it's from Peru to South Africa, when you add it all up, divided by how many, you're around $1,200 an ounce.
Mm-hmm.
So it hit 1185 since I said that. And now as we're speaking, it's hovering around the 1280 mark.
Correct.
And we think the bottom has been hit, and the upside potential, we've been saying this for over 5 years, gold has to break over $1,450 an ounce. When it does that and stabilizes above that, we forecast it will spike to the $2,000 range. Again, It hasn't done that. Correct. So now let's go back to interest rates.
Yeah.
When interest rates stay low, gold is going to shine more. When interest rates go up, the opportunity cost for holding gold goes up.
Right.
So gold prices go down. And gold is based in dollars. So as interest rates go up, the other currencies go down. It's more expensive for them to buy gold. So we believe that, again, I was going to have a forecast. We're not giving financial advice. Gold is showing itself to be the safe haven. It's a very simple formula as we see it. The lower the markets go, the higher goes gold. If gold stops going up as the markets keep going down, then start looking in a different direction.
Right.
But right now, as the markets go lower, gold has been going higher. It's proving itself as that safe haven asset. And as the sliding stocks are boosting that safe haven demand.
All right. That sounds like one that you can pretty much count upon. I think you're right. I think its time is coming. I mean, right now, as we're speaking, it's up 11 and change for the day. Silver's up 19 cents. So silver, once gold comes rushing back, then silver is really going to come rushing back, isn't it?
Well, silver usually follows. The only problem with it is if there's a major economic downturn, silver is also used in production.
True.
And that could weaken the price a bit because it's like copper prices. You're looking at copper prices now, they're going down quite dramatically. They're fluctuating near bear territory, which is down, meaning more than 20%. From their high this year, and they hit a real low spot in August, but now they're back on the decline, and they call it Dr. Copper,
right?
Because it's used from everything from heavy industry to high tech, and China imports over 50% of it. So now we're seeing a decline again in copper prices, and that's a signal to us of a slowing global economy.
Right. Yeah, I see what you mean. Totally see what you mean. And I couldn't agree with you more. I think this is a time, well, look what's happened to oil. It's down in the 40s now, West Texas Intermediate. And look, we're seeing like all these things happening here. Something's got to give, right?
Yeah, when you're looking at oil, again, we're talking about the global slowdown.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw, oil's been, has been going down steadily and had a big bounce back on Wednesday. But, now it's down again, between almost 3% in both, if you average out both Brent and West Texas. And so it's supply and demand. Right. And as I said, there's a global slowdown. And when you look at the numbers, they don't lie. And it's BS again about war, trade war and tariffs. You're looking at retail sales in China down to a 15-year low this last month. You're looking at auto sales, their biggest slump since the 1990s. It's so dramatic, the decline. You think the people are worried, there might be a trade war. They might put tariffs on us. No, they don't got any money to spend on this stuff. They have the money, they buy it. It's as simple as that. So when we're looking at oil prices, we're looking at basically supply and demand. And you're looking at lower demand coming out of China and out of India.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. We haven't, when we look at housing, everybody has thought for the past few years, housing is doing well. But the reality is housing never got to the point where it was in 06 and 07. Its peak. It's way below that. New housing starts and previously owned homes. The sales rate of those homes has never gotten even close to the peak or the average of where it was 10 years ago. So the economy has never been that wonderful as the politicians would like you to believe.
No, it hasn't been. The acceleration of home prices are mostly in the major metro areas. And now you're seeing a slowdown, particularly in the West Coast, up in Seattle and San Francisco, in California, and down to San Diego. And so you're in Denver, you're seeing slowdowns, you're seeing inventory building. And as you mentioned, there's a decline in new and existing home sales, a sharp decline in new mortgage applications, and refi is way down. Yeah. So what we're saying is that they can't even take a 5% 30-year mortgage. And now they just raised it at another 0.25%. So that's going to put even more downward pressure. And then you add on top of that what Trump's tax bill did, where homeowners aren't allowed to deduct their mortgage after $100,000. So that's put a lot of downward pressure on the markets as well. Yeah, and real estate is a very important sector to look at because it's about 15% of our GDP.
Very true. And not to mention, you can't deduct your taxes, your state and local taxes over $10,000. That has destroyed many Californians and New Yorkers. I mean, look, Gerald, we were both in New York. How many lawyers did you know making $500,000 a year who are living paycheck to paycheck? All of a sudden, they get a $50,000 tax increase, or $35,000. That's pretty devastating to somebody in that position who's got a huge mortgage on a house, whose kids might go to private schools. This is devastating.
Look, I know people that have house for sale in one of the richest areas of Long Island, and it's a mansion. No one looking at it for the last 3 months.
Yep. I know. It's very true.
And you're looking at a slowdown in commercial real estate as well. And you're looking at home builders stocks. They're down some 30%. And again, 20% is bear market. They're deep in bear.
Yep. Very much so. So unless Trump can pull another rabbit out of the hat, I don't even know what good saving $60 billion a year or $70 billion for these wars is really going to do for the economy at large. It's a drop in the bucket.
Well, that's $60 billion for that. But if we brought the defense budget down from $750 billion to a couple of $100 billion, then we could put that money, stop wasting our money. We spent $6 trillion in wars.
Yeah, I know.
You know, could you imagine if we invested $6 trillion since the war on terror into this economy?
God,
what this country would look like? Look at the roads. They're a joke.
Mm-hmm.
They're a bad joke.
Yeah. What if we cut taxes, took half of it, cut taxes, other half, put it into infrastructure?
Yep. And that's what I want to do with the Occupy peace, bring home the troops to rebuild our rotted infrastructure. We call it a Troops Progress Administration, taking off from the Work Progress Administration during the Great Depression.
Yeah. That
built so many great highways and bridges and dams.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah. So we want to do the same thing. You know, let's really rebuild America to the truest extent. It's a joke. I just came back from Nepal. I was in the Doha airport. Oh my God, it was like a whole city. And what a ridiculous stuff too. I mean, frisking you down. I left a comb in my pocket and, you know, these little things, these little brushes that you clean your teeth with, you know. I had one of those in my pocket. They put it through security again. Come on. I didn't say, it's a damn comb. I mean, look at it, you know, a little tooth cleaner. But anyway, and then I fly back into JFK and it's like, my God, what a hole. And then the whole drive back, you know, all the garbage on the streets, how disgusting it looks.
Yeah, I know. Well, hey, I think we'll leave it at that. I want to wish you the best for the coming year, Gerald. It's always great having you on the show. Always great getting your perspective, getting the trendsjournal.com view of things. And we're extremely grateful to you for your generosity and for your support for the show.
And thank you for all that you do. And maybe we'll get together again and we'll go over some of our top trends for 2019 because it's a rocky road ahead.
I will tell Melissa to set us up for the second week of January. We'll get together. We'll talk about what lies ahead in 2019, what you need to do about it to survive and thrive in the new economy. Gerald, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Hey, by the way, guys, questions for Gerald, myself, email us, kl@kerrylutz.com. If you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe, like, and share us. If you're listening off of YouTube, please share us with friends, anybody who you think can profit from this program and be entertained as well, because we're about entertainment. Gerald, Happy New Year's, and we'll see you next year.
Okay, Happy New Year to you.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.